Hello. I'd like to talk today about cryptocurrencies. Yesterday, I was speaking in video number 10. I was speaking about starting a religion, a light religion movement. And the main reason I wanted to start it as a religion was to save money for taxes. Now, you might add, or you might think, well, excuse me, why not just use cryptocurrencies? Make your money and convert to cryptocurrencies, and then it won't be able to be traced, and then you won't have to pay taxes on it. Well, I don't think it quite works that way because the money you made initially would be taxable. And now, if I just allowed people to pay us, say we're going to market something or make something, and they had to pay in cryptos, that would cover our tracks. But again, it's illegal. I don't want to mess with the with the with the tax departments of any country. So that's not an option. But it did get me thinking about cryptos overall, and I wanted to give my opinion about them. Um, Obviously, the price, say, for something like Bitcoin has fluctuated wildly. But overall, I think cryptocurrencies are more or less doomed. Not to be gone from the planet forever. I think as long as they're untraceable, because right now apparently they're untraceable by the government. Their transactions, Bitcoin transactions, either cannot be traced or it's very difficult to trace them. So as long as that's the case, then obviously organized crime and terrorists will want to use it because they want their transactions and their money to be untraceable. But that's hardly something that's in its favor. The terrorists and organized criminals can can use it. I mean, it's good if you're an organized criminal or a terrorist, but other than that, it's not very good. But also, too, there's several reasons that I think cryptocurrencies will eventually. I don't think for 1 second they'll become, replace money. There's a few reasons. Some people, one, they're already being banned in countries. I'm reading this from Crypto News, and for 2020, that lists countries where Bitcoin is banned. It's just Bitcoin. Bitcoin is banned: Afghanistan, Pakistan, Algeria, Bolivia, Bangladesh, the Republic of Macedonia, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Vanuatu, I don't know that, and Micronesia, I guess, and Vietnam. And then, in addition to countries where BTC is banned, there are also countries where Bitcoin is somewhat restricted and cannot be traded or used for payment. In such states, banks and other financial services are prohibited from dealing with cryptocurrency exchanges and companies. And in more extreme cases, the countries have even banned crypto exchanges, etc. China. And those countries are China, India, Ecuador, Indonesia, Morocco, Zambia, Nepal, Egypt, and American Samoa. In addition, in Russia, this is from Investopedia, Bitcoin is not regulated in Russia, though its use as payment for goods or services is illegal. So, I mean, as a regular, as a currency alternative, there's not much point in having it if you can't buy any, if it's illegal to buy or sell anything with it. And these are major countries. This is China, India, Russia. I mean, China and India alone are what are they? 2 billion people. I mean, no, these are huge numbers of people that they're already counting out. And why would the rest of the nations, like, the United States, European Union, Canada, whatever, why would they not want to, eventually will not want to allow cryptocurrencies to be used? Because they'll lose a lot of money. Because let's say they got really popular. Let's just use Bitcoin. Let's say Bitcoin got really popular in America. And let's say that 10% of the population was living their lives with Bitcoin. They were paid in Bitcoin, they paid their rent in Bitcoin, everything they did, pretty much they did in Bitcoin. Well, what does that mean? That means that all those transactions aren't traceable. So theoretically, that 10% of the nation wouldn't have to pay any taxes, and they certainly wouldn't have to pay the amount of taxes they actually owe the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, because nobody can find out how much they owe, how much they actually owe. So you are for sure in that situation going to have a whole lot of tax revenue that America would have got otherwise they're not going to get. And there's no way the government's going to allow that. They're not just going to sit back and go, oh, well. If there's one thing you don't want to take from politicians is their power. And money is power. And the more tax revenues you take from them, the less power they have. So, in a way. So if they ever got popular, America's going to clamp down on them. Why did, just like India did, just like China did, just like Russia has. I mean, there is no incentive whatsoever for the American government to allow cryptocurrencies to grow, or the Canadian government, or the European Union, or anybody else, because it'll just cost them tax revenues. Unless you're thinking, well, people that use cryptos are going to be so honest, and they'll report everything they spent and everything they made, and like heck they will. Some will. I think the vast majority won't. They don't have to pay taxes. Why would they? If they know they're safe. So that, to me, right there says it's doomed. I mean, they're doomed because eventually all the governments are going to ban them. I mean, it's already in China and India. That's a huge part of the world right there. And Russia and Indonesia. I mean, what is that? I don't know what combined that is. That must be at least 2.5 billion people. That's, a third of the world right there. So I'm just guessing there, but that's my guesstimates. Well, actually, I'm going to find out for sure. Well, I looked it up and I was wrong. It's China's 1.4 billion, India's 1.3, almost as many as China. I didn't know they're that close. So that's 2.8, and then Indonesia is the fourth largest country population-wise. So that's 273 million. So that's 3.1, and then Russia is 145. So that's almost 3.3. So I don't know. The population as of today is 7.7 billion. So with the other countries, I mean, you probably at least half of the world has already banned them. So it's inevitable the rest of it will. So, or most of them anyway. So it's doomed. I mean, governments are just not going to voluntarily give up huge chunks of their tax revenue. Forget it. So it's doomed. But even if you don't count that, people don't seem to talk about much. Crypto mining, especially Bitcoin mining, takes a ton of electricity. This is from July 4th, 2019, TheVerge.com. And it says, it's a report, and it says, written by James Vincent, and it's Bitcoin consumes more energy than Switzerland, according to new estimate. I mean, a couple of years ago, I heard estimates as much as Ireland. I mean, this is an entire country just for Bitcoin transactions, not for cryptocurrencies, just Bitcoin. Now, it's an estimate still, but I mean, and if it grows to let's say Bitcoin starts covering the whole world, and everybody says, okay, we'll use that. I mean, imagine the electricity usage. It would be gigantic for Bitcoin transactions. No, it's ridiculously impractical. And finally, the point is that the fact that the Bitcoin is backed by absolutely nothing. I mean, currencies are backed by their governments, to whatever extent that's worth. Gold, for example, which is usually used thought of by many as a safe haven. I mean, that's backed by the fact it's gold. It's something that cannot be duplicated. So no, cryptos are doomed. I mean, they may still be worth a lot of money. I'm not saying they're going to go down or anything. I'm not saying as an investment they'll be bad. But I'm saying for those people that think cryptocurrencies are going to be used one day all over the world, forget it. There's no way. Unless they become, the only way I could see it happening is if they figured out a way to allow governments to be able to read the transactions. But then what's the point? All you've got is a currency that everyone can see. There's no benefit to it, and it's not backed by anything. And then obviously the price fluctuates like a yo-yo. So what's the benefit of that? So no, I see no realistic way forward for cryptocurrencies. Again, they might last forever because, people that want, the black market and terrorists and criminals would still use them. I don't see why that. As long as they're unreadable, I assume they'll still use them. But as a mainstream currency, forget it. Not going to happen. I just doesn't even make any sense. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.